Hello everyone, welcome to another video tutorial in simplifying the callouts in Salesforce tutorial series. In this tutorial, we are mainly going to talk about how we can perform asynchronous callouts in Salesforce using HTTP callout framework, right? So asynchronous callouts are nothing but the callouts that are actually happening independently, so that any kind of work that you doing in Salesforce is not affected, right? Because you know that whenever we perform a callout from Salesforce, it is actually having a maximum timeout of 2 minutes. So let's say you are performing a synchronous callouts and you have a loader that's loading the result of your callout, right? And let's say your server is not responding in a limited amount of time, and it is taking actually 2 minutes to respond. So actually, you have to wait for 2 minutes to get the callout result, and then you can work ahead, right? So asynchronous callouts are actually running asynchronously, or they are running in a separate thread, so that your actual work is not affected. So whenever you want to perform an asynchronous callout in Salesforce, Salesforce is telling us that we can use the continuation class for that particular purpose, right? So in this video tutorial, we'll mainly learn about the continuation class, and we'll see how we can perform the asynchronous callouts from a VisualForce page using the continuation class, right? The only consideration that we have to take care of when we are using continuation class is that the continuation class says us that we can actually perform a callout or an asynchronous callout, but that asynchronous callout should be initiated either from a VisualForce page or from a Lightning component, right? So you cannot actually initiate a callout from Apex directly. You can either initiate a callout from VisualForce page or a Lightning component whenever we want to initiate an asynchronous callout using the continuation class, right? So this is a mandate that you should either use a VisualForce page or a Lightning component. In this video tutorial, we are mainly going to talk about VisualForce page, and we'll see how we can perform a callout from a VisualForce page, right? So let's jump onto my VisualForce page and let's see it in action. So this is the VisualForce page that I'm talking about in this video. So this VisualForce page is actually performing callout to three different APIs that I have defined here. So the first API is sfdcstop.herokuweb.com/blogs, and this API is actually giving me a list of blogs in the response. So you can see here that it has a JSON in which I'm getting a list of blogs, right? So this is the second API that I'm going to hit on click of that button in my VisualForce page, and it is giving me a list of applications that I have built till now, right? And this is the third API, which is sfdcstop.herokuweb.com/sessions, and it is giving me a list of live sessions that I have taken till now, right? So these are three different APIs that are present on the server, and I'm going to perform callouts to these three different APIs on click of the send request button that is present in my VisualForce page, and I'm going to get the response, and I'm going to show the response in the blogs list, apps list, and sessions list section, right? Okay, so let's click on the send request button and let's see whether it is able to perform the request to three different APIs, and whether it is able to get a response back here or not, right? So I'm just going to click on this button, and we can see here that it is able to fetch the response from three different APIs. So I'm getting a list of blogs here from the blogs API. I'm getting a list of applications here from the applications API, and I'm getting a list of sessions here from the sessions API. Okay. So before moving ahead, I just want to tell you that if you want to have this VisualForce page into your own org, you can also deploy that from HTTP Callout framework itself. So it is the same way as you can deploy the framework. Like if you want to deploy the framework, you can just go to the README section of the GitHub repository, and you can use this deploy to Salesforce button to deploy the framework to your org, right? Similarly, if you want to deploy these example VisualForce pages and Lightning components, for asynchronous callouts particularly, you can use a second deploy to Salesforce button that is present in the README to deploy this VisualForce page into your own org, right? Okay, so let's have a look at a VisualForce page and let's see how it's working, right? And then we'll come back to the syntax of the VisualForce page, and we'll see the syntax of this particular VisualForce page that we are talking about, right? Okay, so from the VisualForce page, I can see here that I have a send request button on the click of which I am performing some callouts, and I'm getting the list of I'm getting my response back in here, right? Okay, so let's go to our VisualForce page and let's see how it's working. So I have an Apex command button here, which is actually performing a callout, and it is calling send async callout request method, and this method is present in my controller class, right? And what this method is doing, it is actually performing a call out, and then whenever I'm getting the response from this asynchronous call out, I'm actually re-rendering the main block. And the main block is nothing but the block which is actually having all the three tables: the blogs list, apps list, and sessions list as well, right? So I got to know that whenever I want to create a VisualForce page, the only requirement that we have is we should have a apex command button, which is actually calling a method of my controller, and it is actually re-rendering something. Because whenever I'm getting a request, I mean a response from the API, I should actually re-render or refresh my page block to get the response, right? Okay, so we got to know that if I want to create if I want to create a VF page for a continuation callout, the only requirement I have is to have a command button which is calling a method from my Apex controller, and it is re-rendering something, right? So this is what I have written in the doc also, that if you want to create a VisualForce page using HTTP callout framework and continuation class, the only requirement that you have inside the page is to have a command button which is actually calling a method, and it is re-rendering something, right? Okay, so now let's move on to our controller, and we'll see what's happening inside the controller, right? So inside the controller, what I have, first of all, I have three wrappers for the JSON data that I'm getting from three different APIs, right? So you can see here that I have a blogs wrapper, I have an apps wrapper, and I have a sessions wrapper class also. And these three wrapper class are actually having a string author, which is having the author name, and it is actually having a list of record, which is blogs. Apps wrapper is having a list of record which is named as apps, and sessions wrapper is actually having a list of record named as sessions. So why these wrappers are required? These wrappers are actually used to pass the JSON data that I'm getting from the API, right? And this record is nothing but it is actually another wrapper class which is having ID, title, and URL. So just let me show you the API once so that we are understanding the wrappers properly. So as you can see here in the blogs API, I'm getting the author and I'm getting a list of blogs, right? So in my wrapper also, I have a string named author and I have a list of blogs, right? And this list of blogs is actually having a record in each particular element in my list, and that element is going to have an ID, title, and URL, right? So each particular element in my list is actually having an ID, it is actually having a title, and it is having a URL as well. It is having an ID, a title, and a URL as well, right? So this is how I'm getting the data in JSON format, and in order to decode that data, I'm actually using wrappers for my blogs, apps, and sessions wrapper. So I have actually kept all the three APIs very similar. So in this also, I'm actually having an author, and instead of blogs, I'm just having apps here, and inside that again, I have ID, title, and URL, right? Similarly, in case of sessions also, I have an author and then a list of sessions which is having ID, title, and URL, right? So here you can see that in case of apps, I am having a list of the similar record class, but the name is apps here, and in case of sessions, and the name is sessions here, right? Okay, so these are the three wrappers that I'm actually using to get the data. And what I'm doing now, I'm actually creating an instance of these wrapper classes. So the blocks wrapper is actually having an instance named as B wrapper, apps wrapper class is actually having an instance named as A wrapper, and sessions wrapper class is actually having an instance named as S wrapper. And these wrapper classes are actually being used in VisualForce pages to render the data. So if I just show you the first page block that I'm having, so you can see here that I am actually using the B wrapper class, which is the wrapper class of my blogs wrapper, right? So this is the instance of my blogs wrapper class. I am actually using this B wrapper class to show the author, and I'm actually rendering, iterating the list of blogs using B wrapper.blogs, and I'm actually showing the list of blogs here, right? So you can see if I go to my VF page, I'm actually having written over here as Rahul Malhotra blogs list. So Rahul Malhotra is nothing but the author name from my API, which is Rahul Malhotra, and it is actually showing me Rahul Malhotra blogs list here. And this is rendered in my VF page. So if I go to the VF page, I can see here that I'm actually giving the title as author plus blogs list. So author is nothing but Rahul Malhotra and then blogs list. So this is how the data is being rendered. I'm actually setting the B wrapper for the blogs. I'm setting the A wrapper for apps, and I'm setting the S wrapper for sessions. And this is rendered automatically in the VF page because I'm actually re-rendering the whole block whenever I'm getting the response from the API, right? Okay, so I hope you get this, that how I'm actually rendering the data in the VF page whenever I'm getting a response from the API, right? So let's go ahead and let's see what else we have in our controller class. So we got to know that we have a list of blogs, we have a list of, we have an app zapper, we have a blog zapper, and we have a session zapper as well that we are using in our VF pages. And apart from that, what I have actually created an instance of HTTP callout async service class. So this service class is actually a part of HTTP callout framework, and I have created an instance of this service class so that I can perform an asynchronous callout, right? And the next thing that we have is a string of request labels. So this list of string is required whenever you are using a continuation class, right? So what this continuation class says, it actually says us that that you can perform three callouts in a single continuation object. So just let me write here that we can perform three callouts from single continuation object, right? So this is the maximum number of callouts that we can perform for a single continuation object. So let's say you are performing three different callouts. I mean, I'm performing a callout to the sessions API, to the blogs API, as well as to the apps API from a single continuation object, right? So how can I differentiate between all three? These three asynchronous requests are going through my Salesforce org, and whenever I'm getting a response, I should be able to differentiate between the three requests, right? I should be able to understand that which response is related to which request, and which response is related to which request, right? So in order to differentiate between the three requests that I'm performing, I should set request labels. So these request labels are basically the keys for each and every request that you are sending from the contribution class. So this is actually a unique identifier for your single callout that is performed from the continuation class, right? So we'll learn about this as we move ahead in code. So let's move ahead. Okay, so what we have done here, this is the send async callout request method which is called from the VF page when I'm going to click this button. So as I click this button, this method is called, and inside this method, I have actually created a new instance of HTTP callout service, and I have passed the timeout which is 40, and I have passed the name of my custom metadata inside my constructor itself. So if you remember the other features of HTTP callout framework, inside this framework we have a feature that we can create metadatas, custom metadata, and we can have those custom metadata to perform the callout, right? So as you can see here, for three different APIs, I have created three different metadata here. For the blogs API, I have SFDC stop blogs. For the sessions API, I have SFDC stop sessions, and for the apps, I have SFDC stop apps, right? Okay, so let's open any one of these metadata and let's see what we have in there. So inside SFDC stop blogs metadata, I'm actually telling Salesforce that I'm going to perform a GET request, and I'm going to use this particular endpoint, which is sfdc stop.herokuapp.com/blogs. So this is the same endpoint that I'm going to hit, and I'm going to get the response from this particular endpoint, right? Okay, so what I have done, I have actually given the names of these three metadatas so that it can, my framework automatically can perform a call out to these three APIs. So we just need to give the metadata names as a list in the second parameter of the constructor, and it will automatically perform a call out to the APIs that you are having in your custom metadata, right? So it is what it is going to do. It is actually going to perform a call out to three different APIs automatically by using the names that I have passed in the constructor, right? So once it has performed the API call out, how can I perform the call out? First of all, I'm actually using the service.sendRequest method to perform the call outs, and this call out is actually going to have the method name, which is get async callout response as a parameter, right? So in the send request method, what I need to pass, I need to pass the method name, which is actually going to handle my asynchronous callout response. So let's say you have a method named as handle response or something like that. So you need to pass handle response here. So the name doesn't matter, but you need to pass the same name in which you want to handle your response. So this method is just responsible for performing the request, and you will be getting the response inside a different method, and that method name you should pass in the send request method of my HTTP callout async service class, right? So inside the send request method, I have passed this method name which is going to handle my response. And what this send request will return? This send request will return me an object of continuation class. And finally, what I need to do before returning the continuation class object as a return type of this particular send async callout request method, I actually need to set up my request labels. So my request labels are the unique identifiers that are associated with these three different callouts, as I told you before. So I can get the request labels very easily by using service.getRequestLabels, and those request labels are actually being stored in the request labels list, which I defined above, right? So I have my request labels so that I can uniquely identify that which callout is I mean which callout or which request is having a response of which particular API, right? Okay, so I mean, whenever we are going to perform a call out from VisualForce page, the one thing that we need to take care of that we should have a VF page, which is actually performing a call out by using a command button, and it is actually calling a method which should be defined in your controller, and that method is actually going to return an object, which is nothing but an instance of your continuation class, right? And how you are getting this instance of continuation class, you can simply use HTTP callout framework to perform the callouts, and you can use the send request method to send the request, and it will automatically return you an instance of continuation class that you can return from this particular method, right? Okay, so we actually specified that, hey Salesforce, I'm going to I mean, you can send a request using the metadata that I have defined, and you have given me the continuation object that I have returned here, and you are actually going to give me the response in this particular method, right? So this is the second method that we have to define in our controller class, which is actually going to handle the response, right? So this method is actually having a return type of object, but it is returning null. Okay, so this is the syntax of the continuation actually that we have to follow even in the framework, because this is defined by Salesforce. Okay, so whenever this response method is going to call, this response method will be called automatically by the continuation class whenever the request is successful. Okay, so whenever the request is complete to all the three APIs, this response method will be automatically called. You don't need to actually call it from anywhere. It will be automatically called by the continuation class by Salesforce for you. And we are returning null here because this is the syntax. Whenever we want to render or re-render a VF page automatically, we should return null from this particular response method, right? So what I'm doing in this response method, I'm actually using the getResponse method of my asynchronous callout service class, and I'm passing the request labels that I got from the request. So now I'm actually telling Salesforce that, hey Salesforce, you need to use these request labels, and you need to give me the responses for these request labels, right? So I'm getting the responses, which is nothing but a list of HTTP response. So this is a standard response that we get in Salesforce. And these response lists will actually consist of all the responses from all three different APIs that we are going to hit. So here we can see that I am actually deserializing the response from the first callout, which is actually a callout to my SFDC stop blocks. And here I am actually deserializing the response from my second callout, which is actually going to perform a callout to SFDC stop apps API. And this is the third response that I am actually deserializing here, and it is actually going to perform a callout to SFDC stop sessions API, right? So I'm actually converting this response by deserializing it from JSON, and I'm actually going to initialize these objects that I defined above. So this is the B wrapper object that I'm actually defining, or I should say initializing inside the response method. This is the A wrapper object that I'm actually initializing in the response method. Then this is the S wrapper object that is actually initializing in the response method, right? So what we got to know from this, that we are actually performing a call out or sending a request in this particular method, and this method is actually going to perform the call out, and I have specified that whenever I am getting a response from my asynchronous call out, this method will be called automatically, which is get async call out response. You can actually give any name here, that doesn't matter, but on the only thing is that you need to take care that whenever you're calling send request method, you should pass the name of your output or the response handling method in the parameter here, right? Okay, so this method will be automatically called whenever I'm getting a response from the async callout. And what I need to do, I need to use the request labels to get the responses. And the list of responses I'm getting here, I can actually simply use the JSON.deserialize method, or any kind of I mean, it's up to you. This is just passing of the response. So in case you have a JSON response, you can directly get the response body, from the list of responses by getting it one by one, and finally you can return null. So returning null is again important because we want to automatically re-render our Visual Force page. So here I have written that whenever I'm getting a response, I need to actually re-render the main block. So this re-rendering will happen only when I'm actually returning null from here, right? So this is the syntax that is defined by Salesforce for the continuation class, and we have to follow this syntax, right? Okay, so I'm actually going to move on to our GitHub, and this is the syntax of the VF page. So I have just uh, condensed, or I should say specified a syntax here. So whenever we want to perform a continuation callout from a VisualForce page, you should actually first of all have a instance of HTTP callout async service class. Next, you should actually define the request labels. Third, what you can do, you should actually have a send async callout request or any kind of method. So this method name is actually something that you can have on you can actually decide on your own. You don't need to actually have the same method name, but the one thing that you need to take care of, that you should actually call the same method from the command button that you are defining here, right? Uh, this method should return an object, and that object will be nothing but an object or the instance of continuation class that we will get whenever we are performing a send request, whenever you are performing a request to the third party, right? So this request is automatically is actually receiving get async callout response or the method name of my response handler method in the parameter here, and this method will be automatically called whenever I'm getting a response, right? So what I'm doing in the request method, I'm simply creating an instance of HTTP callout async service. I'm performing a request. I am actually setting up the request labels, and I am returning the continuation object. And in the response method, what I'm doing, I'm actually getting the response by using the request labels that I have set above, and I'm actually getting the responses, and then I can actually render the response in a way I want to. And finally I need to return null, because by returning null it is actually going to re-render the ID of the block that I have specified here, right? Okay, so we got to know that how we can perform a call out from the asynchronous, how we can perform an asynchronous call out from a VisualForce page using the HTTP callout framework and continuation class, right? The one thing that I want to tell you here, which we should learn about, is that what we did right now, we actually used HTTP callout framework method, and I actually used the metadata that are present in my framework, right? So let's say we have a requirement where we don't have any kind of hard coded metadata that I can reuse again and again. I need to make some changes in the request before sending the request, right? So this is also possible for you, right? That you want to define the request yourself, or you want to make some changes in the request that you got from the metadata before sending the request, right? So you can also do that. So in order to do that, what you can do, I have actually a code snippet here for you, in which I'm actually initializing three different requests. So this is the first request that I'm initializing here. You can see it is actually going to call my blocks API, and it has a method of get. This is the second request that I'm initializing here, which is going to call my apps API, and is actually having a method of get as well. And this is the third request that I'm initializing here, which is actually going to call my sessions API, and it's having a method of get. So here I'm actually not using the custom metadata names, but I'm initializing the request myself, right? So in case you are following this approach where you are initializing the request yourself, you can actually use another constructor that is present in the asynchronous callout. HTTP callout async service class. Inside this, we have another constructor where we can pass the list of HTTP requests, and we can get the service object directly, right? So we have two constructors defined in this class. So if I just go to HTTP callout async service class, you can see here that we have two constructors defined. The one constructor is actually taking the list of HTTP requests along with the timeout, and the second constructor is actually taking a list of custom metadata list, or the names of the custom metadata along with the timeout, right? So whenever you are using custom metadata, you can use this particular constructor, and whenever you want to define the request yourself, or even if you are using custom metadata, whenever you are editing the request before sending, you can use this particular constructor, right? So both the constructors are supported, and you can do it any way you want. Okay, so I think we got to know pretty much about how we can perform continuation callouts using VisualForce page, and what is the syntax that is defined by Salesforce that we need to follow like we need to return objects and need to return null from here. So this is all syntax of continuation that is specified by Salesforce, and we have to follow this. However, I have tried to use HTTP callout framework in this, and I have tried to keep it as simple as as simple as possible for you, so that, I mean, it is actually very simple. You just need to specify the method name that is performing the request. You need to have that method defined in your controller. You need to have a an output method which is actually handling the response, and you can simply pass the method name here, and rest everything will be handled by the framework also itself, right? So this is the syntax that you can follow. You can actually go to my GitHub repository, which is github.com/Rahul Malhotra /HTTP callout framework, and you can check out the syntax for the VisualForce page. And in order to understand this code fully, if you want to give it a try, you can simply go to deploy to Salesforce button, and you can deploy it to your own org, which will automatically call these three different APIs and will get the response inside your VF page. So you can have a look at the code again, and you can understand it well, right? So I hope the explanation is clear to you, and we'll see in the next tutorial how we can perform a continuation callout using the Lightning component. So like we have a VisualForce page here, you can see that we use to perform a continuation callout. We can also have a Lightning component in which you can actually perform a callout initiated from the Lightning component using the continuation class, and we can actually perform three different callouts. Okay, so just before wrapping up, I just want to show you one more thing that I mean, it is a limitation of Salesforce, or I should say a limitation defined by Salesforce, that you can have at max three callouts that are related to a continuation class, right? So here also in the framework, you can actually specify three custom metadatas or three HTTP callouts at max whenever you are performing a callout using continuation, right? So you can actually call three different APIs at once whenever you're performing a callout. The other way is to chain continuation callouts. If you want to perform more than three callouts, you can actually chain them, so that one callout is having a response, and then I'm performing the second callout, and then when I'm getting its response, I'm performing the third callout, and so on, right? So if you want to learn about chaining, just let me know down below in the comments, and we can create a tutorial in that as well. However, in the next tutorial, we are going to learn how we can perform a callout using the Lightning component, and what syntax we need to follow whenever we are performing a continuation callout from the Lightning component, right? Okay, so I hope this tutorial is clear to you, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. Till then, have a good day. Bye bye.